Good morning, everybody. So it's Wednesday, March 25th. I'm Inga Cotton, Executive Director of San Antonio Charter Moms, and I'm online for another Charter Moms chat. So this is a kind of week 2 of our sort of social distancing experiment and week 1 of distance learning for my kids. And I wanted to revisit the topic of scheduling because I think I covered it last week, but with a lot of ideas about how I thought it would go and sort of general ideas. Now that we're in it and we wrote down a schedule over the weekend, and then what I found is that I've been editing the schedule several times a day since then. And yesterday I got a little frustrated with myself because I felt like, why can't I get this right? But I mean, the fact is the world keeps changing. So I thought, well, let's revisit the topic of scheduling. Oh, hi, Becca. We're going to revisit scheduling and get input from you all. If you've got comments, I'll try to answer them during the show. If you want to comment on the video later, I'll jump in and answer those in writing. So let me grab the latest version of, so this is in Google Sheets. What I did was I took a week at a time, kind of broke it down by the hour. Becca says, yes, it's week 2 of distance learning for BASIS. So, yeah, different schools at different stages. And things keep changing. So, like yesterday in the afternoon, there was another wave of announcements of school closures. So, most schools in the Bexar County, San Antonio area are officially closed through April 24th. So, the tentative reopen date is April 27th. But we did kind of an informal poll in the San Antonio Charter Moms discussion group on Facebook, and most people were saying, like, we're really not expecting our kids to go back to school this school year. We're kind of figuring it'll be August. For one thing, it seems like the schools are putting a lot of effort into organizing their distance learning projects, and a lot of schools sent out surveys to find out what kind of access to technology students had. So it looks like they're in it for probably a few more weeks. I guess so. Best case scenario is kids would come back for 1 month before summer break, but the expectation of the group is that we're all kind of preparing to be doing distance learning for the duration of this school year, which is why, like, we want to get it right with the schedule. So, okay, so one thing we discovered is that, so the good news is that my kids are getting packets from their school, and they're able to work on them fairly independently, which is really a benefit to me. So I'm able to get some work done, like while they're doing their work. So, but I think probably a lot of families are experiencing this, right? So I have a 4th grader and a 7th grader, and when you have kids at different ages and different grade levels, they have different needs. So my son, it just takes longer. There's just more work to do. We've got kind of different blocks of times. Okay, so here's how we have our school time blocked out right now. So they work for an hour from 8 to 9, and then they go out at 9 o'clock. I go online and do the video, and they're in the backyard right now doing recess. And our backyard is getting more love and attention than it's gotten in a long time. In fact, we're even thinking about getting a little kiddie pool, because like normally we go to our neighborhood pool, and it usually opens the first weekend of May, and I don't know if the pool's gonna open this year. So we're gonna see if we can find like a little kiddie pool for the backyard, because it's actually getting hot. If you're in San Antonio, you know it's supposed to be in the 90s today. Yes, in March. Yes, and my friends in Minnesota are probably like, what? Yeah, for real, it's gonna be in the 90s today. So turn on your sprinklers, get ready. The good news is that supposedly the heat may actually kill the virus more quickly. So maybe we'll be safer and healthier with hot weather. So fingers crossed that that's true. That's just speculation. So an hour of schoolwork, 8 to 9, and then 9 to 10 is kind of recess, and then 10 to 11 they put in another hour of work. And so my daughter sometimes actually gets all of her work done in that 2-hour chunk, except for reading log. So right, she still got her reading log. For my son, he needs another chunk of work in the afternoon. So we'll have kind of a little break before lunch to do some screen time. do the lunch break, which involves cooking and dishes, right? So, yeah, it's it's a lot of dishes. Yeah, I stocked up on dishwasher detergent. So pro tip, go restock on that. Right. So then my son he'll do work probably from about 1 to 3, and then we'll have snack time. And so thankfully, okay. So during the school year, my son would go over to a relative's house, and then the relatives would take turns going over his homework with him to make sure that his questions got answered, and that he was completing things, and just making sure, like, if he did mental math, that he was accurate on it, and just helping him build up his study skills. And we're not, because of social distancing, we're not able to go to that relative's house anymore, and they're not able to visit us because that's what the mayor and the county judge, that's what the order says. So instead what we're doing is I think which app, I guess I don't know if they're using FaceTime or Google, I don't know, I've lost track of all the different, anyway, they video conference. Well, okay, so let me back up. So my son completes his work in the packet, and then I get out my phone, I take pictures, I use a scanner app and take pictures of the pages he's filled out. And meanwhile, I've already forwarded the PDF. Actually, so big Google Drive folder, we put his work packet in it so the tutors can see what he's supposed to be working on. And then the completed work, I scan that, I put the photos in the Google Drive folder, so they're able to see it in Google Drive and go over it with him, and then he can make corrections on his paper while they're talking about it on the video conference. So for my son, it's a really valuable social time because he's able to connect with these relatives that he loves, and he can't see as much as he's used to. He's used to going over their house and eating a snack, which for a 12-year-old, to me, it looks like a hearty dinner, but that's teenagers can eat, right? And tweens, yeah. So no, he's not able to get the love like he usually does. But the video tutoring helps, and he's doing an amazing job of staying on track with his work. I think to some extent the fact that for him, navigating school has always been hard because there's noise and distraction, and there's lots of assumptions about what you're supposed to do. It's like, this bell rings, you walk here, you go to your locker, you do this, you do that. There's a lot of things that people kind of take for granted, that you're supposed to read other people's behavior and follow along. Well, for people with autism, that's hard. Even for me, I'm not diagnosed with autism, but I have some characteristics because it runs in families. And I walk into a restaurant and I'm like, wait, where do you order? Wait, what? And I mean, my friends give me a hard time about it. It's like, Inga, you're a functioning adult. Why can you not figure out how to order at a restaurant? I'm like, I don't know. I really have to stop and think about it. I just don't, I have to stop and observe and consciously, what are people doing? How am I supposed to act in this situation? I don't know. I'd rather just be at my computer. But so the fact that my son, he's able to be at home, he's less stressed out. So he's able to concentrate really well, and he's doing a really good job on his work. So that gives me confidence that at least academically, he's going to make good progress because his teachers are working really hard. We'll see how it goes once he turns in the packet, but that's next Monday. He does miss his relatives that he does the tutoring with. The video chat is not really a good substitute. It's the best we can do. At least he's learning and he's able to connect with the people he loves, but it's not the same as getting hugs and hamburgers and kisses, and it's not the same. So I guess while my son is doing that work in the afternoon, that's when my daughter will she'll do her reading, right? Because that's part of what she needs. She's a 4th grader, and building the reading skills is really important. And then we'll do snack time in the afternoon. I would say late afternoon is the hardest time for us to juggle because things slip over the day, right? I mean, you can write things down on the sheet, it's like, oh, this happens in this hour, and then life happens, and then, right? I mean, you have to run an errand, or we're getting a grocery delivery, or because tangent, but I feel like I'm having to spend a lot of time thinking about how to get food, and I'm thankful that we have food. I'm thankful that we can afford to buy food. I'm thankful that, you know, we've been using like a produce delivery service for months, and so we're able to, you know, keep doing that. You know, we've got stores nearby that, you know, if you get there right when they open, they do have fresh food. We've used Walmart grocery pickup, and the employees stay a good distance away. They don't make you sign the tablet. You know, so like we haven't done any of the like standing in line, because that really scares me. I don't want to be standing in a long line around a store where you don't, you know, that to me that's not enough social distancing. But you know, even when I try to do grocery pickup, like half the things I try to buy are in stock, and even what I do put in my cart, there's maybe a 10% chance that they'll have to cancel that part of the order when I get there. So yeah, I feel like I'm just like, let me rant for a moment. Like it's taking a lot of time to think about food, right? Where do you buy the food? How do you not get germs on you when you're buying the food? You know, what are the pickup and delivery options? How do you put a meal together when you can't pick what you're used to? You know, we're cooking cuts of meat that I mean, I'm just thankful to have chicken. I don't care the fact that it's the bone-in instead of the boneless chicken breast. Like, I'm just thankful that we have good food to eat. And so I know I've plugged this before, but like seriously, if you can, San Antonio Food Bank, they're seeing an overwhelming increase in requests for help. So many people are getting laid off. So you know, if you can, look up San Antonio Food Bank, and they are still taking volunteers, and they're trying to keep the volunteers safe while they're doing the food packing. So so if you have time, if you have resources, San Antonio Food Bank, that's how we can keep people in our community safe, who don't have the safety net. So yeah, okay, tangent. Yeah, but it feels like I'm trying to spend a lot of time thinking about food, either like buying food, cooking, cleaning, you know, and I do enjoy having family meals together. That's been a real blessing from this. But yeah, by the time it gets to be late in the day, we're kind of off schedule, and we just got to do the best we can. So we're trying to make sure that the homework gets done, that we get some time to play outside. You know, we're going to the Greenway trails because those seem to have to not be congested. We are not going to playgrounds, which is really heartbreaking for my kids, because when I say where should we go, and then you know all their favorite places are playgrounds, but I mean, you got to stay 6 feet away. You can still play outside, but you got to stay 6 feet away. And if you go to a playground and there's already kids on there, you know, and people have been touching the equipment, we're just not going to take the risk. It's not safe for our community. So yeah, I guess the other thing that we're trying to do is block out some time for video chats. So I actually, so my son he's the kind of person who has like just a few really close friends, not a whole lot of friends. So his scheduling for him is actually pretty simple. He's just got his buddies he wants to play Minecraft with, and you know, so we just set up a time for that, and it kind of recurs. And then on the weekend we've got our my in-laws in Seattle that we check in with, and they've been staying in their homes for weeks and weeks, because unfortunately Seattle things got bad more quickly there than here. So, but they're safe, and they only go outside to go on walks and get food, and then they stay home. And they don't play with their grandkids either, which is sad. But we just, you know, we do FaceTime calls with them. And oh yeah, Angela has a comment. She says, whenever I take a hike with my children, they ask me if they can go to a playground, and I have to say no. I know, it's so hard. It's so hard. And like, I think the younger the kids are, the harder it is to explain. Like the other day, Becca, our group moderator, Becca, I hope this is okay to share, that it's so hard to explain that to like a kid who feels well, like, no, you're not sick, you don't have the germs, but we have to do this to avoid the germs, and it's just complicated. Like it's yeah, we're all just doing the best we can, but having to explain it to kids so that it's realistic, but we're not making them too fearful, you know, because we have to live with this for a while. it's such a big disruption, so sudden. But yeah, so so my son he does video calls with his friends to play games. My daughter she wants to connect with more different friends, and so we set up kind of a Calendly schedule. Calendly, yeah, it's a website that lets people set up meetings, and it's something that I'm starting to use in my work, but it works for kids too. So especially, it seems like quite a few of my daughter's friends are only children. They don't have siblings necessarily, and I think it's harder for them if they're used to being at school and then they come home, and of course they have a really good bond with their parents, but it's not the same as having people your own age to play with. So we've got some video chats set up, and then tomorrow night my daughter's going to attempt to play Battleship with some friends who live in Chicago. So if you have any other ideas of games that you can play long distance, let me know. I guess chess is another one, right? As long as both people have a board and you kind of, you play both sides. Like the other one will say pawn to this, and then you do it on your board. I don't know. We'll see. It's like epistolary gaming. It's like an ancient tradition brought back into life. But yeah, if there's other games besides Battleship or chess that can be played long distance, I'm all ears, because yeah, as Angela says, this is our new normal, and this may go on for a while. So that's me venting about how long it takes to get groceries, and how it feels like every time I get the schedule how I think it's going to work, then some new wrinkle shows up and I have to edit the schedule again. But hey, at least it's on Google Sheets and I can just edit it on the computer, print more copies, and here we go. So tell me how scheduling is working for you. Just leave a comment, and please join the San Antonio Charter Moms discussion group, so we can share ideas about scheduling and video chats, and how you can how your kids can keep in touch with their friends, and not feel lonely or cut off during this time while we try to stay safe. All right, I'll be back online on Thursday at around 9 a.m. and I'll see you then.